Hello, 575A. I'm here to help you with your Milestone 4. This is the daily schedule with menu that's in your parent handbook. You're going to need to create a daily schedule as well as the menu. So part 1 has directions for the daily schedule. Part 2 has directions for the menu. So as you can see down here, what you're going to do is plan a 10-hour day. Let me scroll down a little bit. These are the directions. We have to follow the directions, but I'm going to show you. So you're putting the information in here. Now, in your piece, so it doesn't take forever, your hours are going to look like they are condensed like this. You're going to need to right-click and insert a row in order to have the right number of rows for all of the schedule that you need to put in. So again, I need another row here. I put insert row above, and now I have enough space for the time that I have. The reason why that is, so we're going to have the hours and then your clear description of the activities on the right-hand side for this schedule. So you're only scheduling out one day, but this one day is going to be related to 12 to 18-month-olds. So this should be a schedule that would work well for discipline behavior management for that 12 to 18 month old. So what you are doing in here is creating that 10-hour schedule. Now, we have to meet according to the county. They will ask you for a schedule, so we are replicating that here as one of our assignments in terms of what is our considerations. We need to have considerations related to health and wellness, to behavior management scheduling, as well as to curriculum. So you must have one morning and one afternoon nap that are scheduled for 1 hour. That is essential. It is the only hours in your whole schedule that is going to be longer than 20 minutes. The rest of the time needs to be chunked in 20 minutes. So your 1 hour morning nap and 1 hour afternoon nap are required. Now you also are going to have to state and have at least a certain amount of time put up for hand washing before meals. That needs to be set out. Also, you're going to need to have 3 meals times. Now these 3 meal times need to be spaced 2 to 3 hours apart. You can choose to have breakfast, lunch, and snack, or you can have snack, lunch, and dinner, depending upon when your daycare is running. So your 10-hour span typically is 8 to 6 p.m. for 10 hours, or 7:30 to 5:30 p.m. for 10 hours. What did you say your timing was for the 10 hours? If you want it to be start at 6 p.m. and go 10 hours later, that's fine with me. But what is your time? So within this 10-hour span, everything is going to be broken up into chunks that are not larger than 20 minutes. So if you have something that's 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, then that's going to be 4 lines on hour 1. That is specific to that amount of time. Now, again, the only thing that can be 1 hour or longer than 20 minutes is your naps time. And the naps are required. You're going to have, and then they should be spread apart so that you're thinking the child is going to sleep. In these time frames of 20 minutes, you're going to have age-appropriate time frames and age-appropriate activities. So what activity can be done in that time block? What you cannot, what I want to make sure that you don't do is just take hour 4 and put 5 different activities on here and say we're doing those in an hour. I need to know how much time you think. Is this one, is singing and dancing time, music and movement, is that going to be 15 minutes or is that going to be 5 minutes? What are you going to do for that? So you need a line for each one. Now, when you're doing meals, meals for, say, 20 minutes for your snack, you can have washing hands as part of that if you want, and then snack time. So you can do that in that order, but it shouldn't be longer than 20 minutes if that's the case. So then you're going to have age-appropriate activities. Think about, you just made a facility sketch, and that facility sketch has 5 different centers to it. Think about those 5 centers and what you would do, and what you do during that period of time. Again, these are 12 to 18-month-olds. So you're going to thoughtfully space that out in your schedule. So your assignment is to go into your parent handbook. You're going to follow all of these directions. You're going to have two naps. You're going to have 3 meals. You're going to have hand washing before meals. There's probably going to be some bathroom diaper changing time with these 12 to 18-month-olds. You're also going to have some age-appropriate activities, and your activities are not going to be more than 20 minutes unless it is a nap. So I gave you a little example. So this is 20 minutes time. I would write my activities on what's happening over here. Those activities should be detailed and specific, and here's your 10 hours. You're going to put the timing for that. I don't know what your 10-hour schedule looks like, so that's why it just says hour 1, 2, 3, just to remind you that it's 10 hours. Again, I'm just right-clicking over here. I'm going to insert a row below. Now I have another row so that I can make more time as I need to put my time frames in here. So that was part 1. Now on to part 2. What for milestone 4, what you're going to need to finish is part 2 right here. You're going to develop a sample menu for 1 day. So this is only 1 day of a menu. You don't have to make a week, just 1 day. Now this menu is for 12 to 18-month-olds, just like our schedule is. And so think about the portions that, and look in your reading for the portions that 12 to 18-month-olds would be using. So it is 3 meals. Use your 3 meals from up here. So if your 3 meals up here were breakfast, snack, and lunch, then those will be your meals at the bottom. If your meals up here and you chose were snack, lunch, and dinner, then those should be your meals that we are doing for this daily schedule with the menu. So over here, you're going to tell me what snack, if it's snack, lunch, and dinner, or if this is breakfast, snack, lunch, and snack. So what you need to do is every main meal, that would be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Every main meal must include protein, carbohydrate, dairy, fruit, and vegetable. So for breakfast, you are going to need to have fruit and vegetable available at that breakfast time. If you go lunch and dinner, you're going to have fruit and vegetable at it. Now remember, the county says as you did your reading that for dairy, milk is required to be provided at every meal, not at the snack. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner absolutely has to require dairy. Milk particularly has to be provided for the children. Portion sizes must be stated on the menu in terms of ounces, cups, or numerical value. So, so it would be 1/4 cup of peaches, half of a cup of cooked oatmeal, 1 ounce or half an ounce of ground turkey. You're going to need to have all of that. If you want to say 1 slice of bread, you can do that so that it's not in numerical quantities. 1 tortilla, a half a tortilla, 5 graham crackers, not cookies. So that can be numerical. Everything else needs to be in cups or ounces. And you're going to be following those USDA USDA guidelines for what's appropriate to have. So I really don't want to see those cookies on there. Even for snack time, they do not need dessert. They do not need any sweets. So please look in your nutrition section in the readings to determine what you need to have that follow USDA guidelines. And you're going to need to have ounces, cups, numerical value for every single one of them. If you put one omelet, I don't know what's in there. You can put an omelet, which equals 1 egg, you know, 1/4 ounce of turkey, you know, 1/4 cup of onions. Those are vegetables. With fruit. Does that make sense? So you're going to need to write out all of those things if that's what you're doing. So one grilled cheese sandwich doesn't work. You need to have that and spell all of that out. Remember, every meal I need all of these. All 5 categories need to be represented. All right, well, I hope that that really helps you to make sure, again, that when you're sharing with me, we can't do that for you. When you're sharing with me, make sure that you share when you share with others. Just go ahead and put my name down there, rrose@stccd.edu. Make sure it says that I can edit that when you share. That would be great as you're giving it to me. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you next week.